So in this video, we're going to be looking at a couple of things. First and foremost, one of the biggest pieces of news, Fallout 76 just got a brand new update. I would say this is a pretty average or good update. It's definitely on the positive side as far as the intentions of it, but as we've seen with several of these past updates to the game, now I kind of have to hold out a couple of hours after I finish the video and see what the real outcome was as users start potentially finding new and additional issues, so we'll go over that in this video. But even further, following my video yesterday on the recent Fallout 76 ban wave, a lot of you guys have been reaching out to me, and this update does bring an update to that also, so we'll discuss all of that in this video. I'll have timestamps for all of the major things down below if you guys are interested and do want to skip around. Some of you guys might remember about 2 weeks ago, I asked you for help in voting for Blore to win a trailer. Well, it turns out, thanks to your guys' help, we actually made it to the next round. So the voting for this round actually ends in the next 24 hours. So if you're feeling extra generous and you want to help win a trailer, you can just click on Blore's name, put in your email, and submit your vote, and hey, that would be awesome. Again, there's only about 24 hours left, so if you are going to do it, preferably sooner rather than later. Either way, looking at this new patch for Fallout 76, it actually brings in quite a few interesting things. First and foremost, there are several new changes to the game, both as far as bug fixes go, as well as actual balance or quality of life changes. One of the biggest changes those of us who do still play the game will notice is actually in the stash size increase. They increased stash size from 600 pounds of weight to now holding 800 pounds of weight. This is a much welcome change and actually something that might be a little bit overdue. Bethesda actually did increase the stash size once before, back on December 4th. Way back then, they actually mentioned how it was going to be a conservative adjustment, and we plan to increase the storage cap further in the future once we verified this change does not impact the stability of the game. It took a little over 2 months, but fortunately that change finally has gone forward. And I would say so far it's a pretty good change. I think maybe upping it even just a little bit more could be nice, so we don't have to take the weight limiting perk cards. Right now, at least on my character, it feels very much so like a necessity to spend quite a few perk points on strength to actually maximize my carry weight, because otherwise I simply won't have enough room. Either way, definitely a positive change, and I know one that a lot of us are going to be happy to see. Over the course of covering some of these patch notes, you might have noticed I've repeatedly poked fun at Bethesda, because on many of them, they'll just put how they made improvements to server performance and stability. It was at like the top of almost every single patch notes we've gotten. Fortunately, on this one, we don't have that, and they actually do have a legitimate way they are improving server stability going forward. They talk about how some of the Fallout 76 servers have been running for a very long time, and as a result are creating certain lag issues. In this post, they mention that the rate at which they take some of these servers down will be more frequent, and it might happen while you're in game, but then you'll just be asked to jump to another server. I really like this. I think this is a positive change, and just to clear up any confusion, this doesn't mean all of the servers, like what they did today. It just means some of the individual servers hosting some of the various worlds. So let's say Bethesda has 1,000 servers in total, maybe every once in a while they'll take down 50 of those and you'll have to jump ship to one of the other ones. Those are purely hypothetical numbers. Another very positive change. I'm actually pretty excited to see how much of an improvement this makes over the long haul. So this next one's interesting. If you aren't familiar, in Fallout 76 there are these things called workshops. You can capture them after clearing out all of the enemies, but then other players on the server can come and contest them from you. But to actually contest it, you have to stand in this little circle. This makes it very obvious and easy as to when somebody's contesting it, and it kind of takes away some of the fun PvP scenarios that could occur here. Well, Bethesda actually made a change where now you can contest a workshop from anywhere in the build area, so pretty much anywhere on the workshop premises. So I wanted to test this out, and I actually discovered several different things as a result. First and foremost, one of the other changes made with this update is that when somebody owns a workshop, or just when you hover over somebody's name, it'll show their player icon. But now just by default on the map, there will always be a giant icon when somebody actually claimed a workshop. I have a feeling this is going to greatly increase the likelihood of your workshop being contested just by some other players that want a PvP. But now effectively claiming a workshop became quite a bit more difficult. After starting the claim process, it won't progress at all until you actually take down the enemy player. He could be anywhere on that workshop premises though. Even further, I found a bug in the game. So after dying to somebody and trying to take revenge, I encountered an infinite load screen. Ironically enough, there were several fixes to infinite load screen bugs, but it looks like this one didn't actually get fixed, and I ended up having to restart the game in its entirety. Outside of that though, Bethesda also made some changes to Scorch Beasts and Scorch Beast Queens. There's now a considerable delay in between Screech attacks from these guys, and in addition, the Scorch Beast Queen loot table has been updated to hopefully give players a more rewarding experience for actually taking her down. As far far as the delay in Screech attacks, it's a pretty big difference. Fighting Scorch Beast is now significantly less obnoxious and annoying compared to how it was even just a week ago. We also saw several other miscellaneous changes. Now it's quite notably cheaper to repair Excavator Power Armor. When in Power Armor, now to actually use the fusion cores in your inventory that have the least amount of charge. This is something a lot of people have been waiting for pretty much since Fallout 4. One pretty cool change actually is now to actually get a wanted status, it's not just damaging an item in somebody else's camp, you actually have to outright destroy it. This makes it so in order to get wanted, you have to do something quite a bit more deliberate. Another interesting one, now there's actually a sound effect associated with placing a marker on the map. I guess people wanted that. That really constituted the bulk of some of the changes with this update, but along with it also came quite a long list of different bug fixes. As I've demonstrated in some of the previous footage, the game certainly isn't bug-free, but I think quite a few of the major community concerns or issues actually were addressed, including several different exploits such as duping exploits, and some of the other just long persistent bugs that have plagued Fallout 76, even some since release. Following this update, one issue that has seemed to arise is actually with Atomic Shop items. A lot of people are reporting that they either can't see the textures for these at all, or alternatively, they just see the missing texture, which makes it appear bright purple. So this one actually isn't Bethesda's fault. Of course, they wouldn't damage their precious Atomic Shop. What's actually going on here is apparently there's a conflict in between certain mods as well as the Atomic Shop. Apparently it's a fairly simple fix. You just have to add a couple of lines to your Fallout 76 custom file, this being one of the files you edit associated with modding. In regards to the Atomic Shop, we actually saw the publishing of a bunch of Mothman things, as well as a pretty interesting in-game mini event that they do whenever they post these Atomic Shop updates. Now you'll just have a greater likelihood of encountering the Mothman. This also thwarts my idea that all this Mothman stuff would be part of the first Wild Wasteland DLC, which, speaking of, that's actually something else that's pretty exciting and definitely something to look forward to with this patch. In last week's Inside the Vault article, Bethesda shared some details on the first DLC event we would be seeing for Fallout 76, known as Wild Wasteland, adding in new events, new quests, things like that. They said that that DLC event is starting in 2 updates. So what that means is the next update should have some part of it. We don't know when the next update is coming. They haven't shared details around that. I assume on Thursday, once we get the Inside the Vault article, we'll know more. But that definitely is something to look forward to. I think a lot of us are curious as to how they handle this game's DLC. And as far as other bugs or glitches associated with this update, some of the early reports indicate that one of the mutations in the game, that known as the adrenal reaction mutation, isn't actually working correctly. This is a mutation that increases weapon damage, so it is fairly widely used among players. As of right now, all the evidence I'm going off of are several different threads popping up, but naturally take that with a grain of salt. I don't have the mutation myself, and I can't quickly get it to test this out. Although fortunately, at the time of recording this at roughly 3 p.m., that seems like it's about it. No other major issues or concerns have popped up. The only other thing people are really complaining about is the issues with the Atomic Shop that can be quickly resolved and is a result of modding, not so much Bethesda. Although outside of that, we actually have some updates on this ban situation I discussed yesterday. A lot of people are actually really looking forward to this update because they assumed they were getting unbanned. If you missed that video on the full topic, I will have it linked in the little eye, but effectively the people who were banned got an email saying that they were banned for acquiring over 100,000 of certain rare items over a 30-day period. So that's not to say they just had one stack of 100,000 items, but rather over that period, 100,000 items went through their account. But further, these were only temp bans. Bethesda saying that this account's access to Fallout 76 has been suspended until such time as this issue is fixed in a future patch. Once the fix is live and confirmed, we will reactivate this account and notify you that you are able to access the game again. A lot of people are hoping that meant today. With this recent update, there were several duplication or other exploits that were fixed, so people hopefully were getting back in game. At least as of right now though, that's not the case. I haven't heard of a single person being unbanned as a result of this latest update. Although the wording of that email does support that, it doesn't necessarily mean the second the update goes live, but rather once they affirm that this duplication exploit has been resolved. Does that mean it's going to be the next update? Does that mean maybe just a few hours from now or in the next couple of days following this update? Or even alternatively, could it just be some update at some point in the future? As far as some communication from Bethesda, they have actually made an official post on their forums regarding the bans. It pretty much just echoes the other posts they made in response to one of the Fallout 76 subreddit threads. And as of right right now it seems like there's somewhat of a sentiment that anyone who was saying they were wrongfully banned was simply lying. Although some of the interesting things that have popped up is it seems like one of the items that got certain people's accounts banned were actually having too much of a certain kind of ammo. Based off some of the information spread around, it seems like if you picked up too much ammo or even got traded certain items to craft that ammo, this could get your account flagged, again for actually creating over 100,000 ammo over a 30-day period. And now there's people trying to calculate if that's actually plausible if you play enough hours, and at the end of the day there really isn't a huge update to the situation. I think the conclusion I said at the end of my video yesterday still probably holds pretty accurate. I would assume there are some people who were banned legitimately, other people who were banned illegitimately, maybe they had a false positive, and then other people who are claiming to be a false positive that aren't, they're just lying, and they actually did break the rules. Now, what distribution there is around this is totally unclear. There are a lot of people claiming to be unjustly banned. I got 5 or 6 emails last night. I got 10 to 15 messages on Discord and even on Twitter. Between PMs and just responses to my post, I got quite a few. Now, with this many people coming out and saying, hey, I never broke any rules, never actually duped in the game, that leads me to believe that at least some of them are telling the truth. And the two questions that do remain are, how many? Is it 1% of these people? Is it 50% of these people? I don't think any of us have a good way to tell, but even further, when are they getting unbanned? Because that's the other very interesting part about this. Seemingly, everyone affected in this ban wave will be unbanned, because pretty much all of these new ban emails do contain the stipulation that they will be unbanned once this glitch is fixed. I still think one of the larger issues here was Bethesda's handling of the situation. I think communication could have been better, but hopefully it's a situation they learn from, and I think doing ban waves in Fallout 76 to get rid of legitimate dupers is necessary, and I'm happy they're doing it. I just hope, for the most part at least, it is getting the right people. But otherwise, that pretty much wraps it up for this one. We went over a lot of things in this video, but hopefully you like this latest patch. I think overall it's pretty positive. It patched quite a few bugs and made some positive changes to the game overall, while unfortunately introducing at least one bug, or at least it seems that way. I'll have a video this Thursday talking about the latest Inside the Vault article. They have been talking about releasing a DLC roadmap shortly, as well as maybe in that article we'll actually get more details about the first DLC, considering that is, again, apparently the next update. With that being said, I thank you all again for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope to see you all next time. Later.